Imagine this. One wrong move, one wrong word, and the entire world could vanish in a blaze of fire and silence. This was the reality that haunted humanity for nearly half a century. The Cold War. A war not fought with bullets, but with fear, lies, and secrets so deep, they still echo today. The ashes of war. The Second World War had ended in 1945. But peace? Peace was just an illusion. The United States stood victorious, armed with the most powerful weapon ever seen, the atomic bomb. Across the ruins of Europe, a new power was rising, the Soviet Union, hardened by war, driven by ambition. Winston Churchill warned the world. An iron curtain has descended across the continent. The world was split into two camps, not east and west, but freedom and fear, hope and control. A new war had begun. A war in the shadows. Trust dies first. At first glance, it seemed political. America wanted democracy to spread. The Soviet Union wanted communism to dominate. Simple, right? But behind the speeches and treaties, a darker game was underway. The Truman Doctrine. The Marshall Plan. The Berlin Blockade. Each move was a chess piece, each handshake a bluff. In 1948, Stalin made his first brutal move, cutting off West Berlin from food, water, and power. Imagine 2.5 million people trapped, starving, freezing. Their only hope was planes dropping supplies through the night sky. The Berlin airlift was a daring gamble of survival. And it worked. But trust? Trust was gone. Building walls, breaking minds. By 1961, Berlin had become the Cold War's bleeding heart. Overnight, East Germany built the Berlin Wall, slicing through the city like a scar. Families torn apart. Children trapped. Soldiers ordered to shoot anyone trying to flee. One night, a young man named Peter Fechter tried to cross. He was shot and left to bleed to death as the world watched in silence. The wall wasn't just concrete and steel. It was psychological warfare, etched deep into human souls. Chapter 4: Missiles and Madness. October 1962. The closest the world ever came to extinction. The Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviets placed nuclear missiles just 90 miles from America's shores. In the White House, President Kennedy stared at the images, sweat running down his face. In the Kremlin, Khrushchev gritted his teeth, betting America would back down. Warships surrounded Cuba. Nuclear bombers circled the skies. One Soviet submarine commander almost launched a nuclear torpedo, thinking war had begun. But one man, Vasily Arkhipov, refused the order. He saved the world. One man. One choice. One heartbeat. That's how close we came. Spies, lies, and ghosts. While leaders made public speeches, an invisible war raged in the shadows. The CIA. The KGB. Spies traded secrets like poison daggers. Double agents lived double lives. Names like Aldrich Ames and Kim Philby shook governments. Betrayal wasn't rare, it was expected. Imagine living every day unsure if your closest ally was a traitor. Proxy wars. Blood without glory. The Cold War spilled blood across the globe. Korea. Vietnam. Afghanistan. Africa. Latin America. The Middle East. Wherever capitalism and communism clashed, war followed. Millions died, not for ideals, but because two superpowers refused to lose face. Napalm burned skies in Vietnam. Soviet tanks rolled through frozen Afghan mountains. Civil wars raged in Africa, fueled by foreign weapons. The Cold War wasn't cold. It was burning. The cost of fear. In America, school children learned to duck and cover under desks, as if what could stop a nuclear blast. In the Soviet Union, propaganda showed America as monstrous and evil. Everyday people lived in slow, grinding terror. One mistake. One misunderstanding. That was all it would take. Imagine growing up wondering if today would be your last. When empires crack. By the 1980s, the Soviet Union was crumbling. The cost of empire, war, repression, fear, had eaten it alive. Mikhail Gorbachev tried to save it with reforms, glasnost and perestroika. But it was too late. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. In 1991, the Soviet flag was lowered for the last time. The Cold War ended, not with a bang, but with a gasp. Shadows that still haunt us. Did it really end? Today, old fears wear new faces. Cyber warfare replaces spies. Trade wars replace proxy battles. Missile threats replace duck and cover drills. The Cold War never died. It evolved, becoming harder to see, harder to fight. If history whispers one truth, it's this: fear is the oldest weapon, and secrets are the deadliest. The Cold War wasn't just a battle between nations. It was a battle for the human soul. Remember it, because those who forget history may not survive its return.